So I believe no matter how domesticated our minds become, still there are news of Ghana circulating the globe. Since we are part of a global network, we are all part of the world. We are the world. Send a diagram. Although we are facing galamsey and all these political issues and stuff, but I was a little bit confused about this whole tariff thing. Okuje to a black white call America tariff from the buy and the So I've been looking for some educative videos that will, make me understand this whole relationship between Ghana and America and all this whole tariff stuff. And we could play a video. So the video is a very interesting video because it talks about how this whole tariff war puts Ghana at a very bad position. It puts us like in the position where we appear to be like enemies with the Americans, with the USA, because of China. China for the ASMO. So let's watch the video.
China just used Ghana for a massive publicity stunt that the government of Ghana either ignorantly partook in or was an accomplice to. When China announced that they were going to charge no tariffs on goods from Ghana, all they did was reheat a source that have existed in international trade since 1994. What is this source? And why is China talking about it in 2025? And why is Ghana willingly participating in a PR stunt? We get into all of this right here on the Do or Die YouTube channel.
Because to reheating the source now, okay, it's a metaphor. It just means that idea of what that, like to say, Diane and one that, and yes, heating here kind of shit. It's any food, yeah, it's the same food. And so, what catch him say one word, Diane. Na later also was our no aduan for na me ko find there say first aduan na ono and was a heat here then aduan ba ko pe na one. So let's continue. Like I just want this to be understandable so that we can understand the whole thing he's saying.
My name is Nenebi Tony, and on here I offer cultural commentary on tech, business, and media. So today we are going to have a short masterclass on international trade, focusing on the deal that Ghana announced with China from June 12, 2025. So let's just get right into it. In the middle of June, China hosted the China-Africa Summit for the 4th time. And during the summit, the foreign minister of China announced that goods from Africa were going to be duty-free. Shortly after that announcement, the Chinese foreign minister posted on social media their deal that they entered with the government of Ghana. And the foreign minister from Ghana also confirmed the deal. And the terms of the deal was that Ghana was going to get zero tariff from China, and China was going to support Ghana to build electric vehicle factories in Ghana. But we'll get into that.
After almost offer the same deal no my and almost say almost build the electric vehicles am I. Okay, let me try and understand this. So they have imposed 0% tariff on us, meaning say the company be China, not say we import it free Ghana, we be to 0 cities and my China government. And the company be China no only Ghana for a business government no onya emfaso bi amfiso. But at the same time, why is adu ya man o man emfaso bia no. At the same time, the Pakona one man and Faso no, or not necessarily best ABC companies are on electric vehicles as a mawo. And I want to say, okay, Matthias here. And today, let's try and understand this. Do you know what that done? A Biana and what that done? And Umasa no abuse and the Abreu. All because of said Donald Trump, I imposed tariffs at 2 so. And I was a G. Because of say almost had a bread on promises on Bayad at the Biamau. Omunya Yamau, Omo promises on Bayamau. Okay, so let's continue.
We are going to focus more on the zero tariff part of the deal. And to do that, I'm going to use one product, crude oil, because I think I want to make it easy for people to follow. So when I focus on one product,
and or the materials now near can was import near the no be use oil as example. So maybe take the history of oil involved in all these trade and tariffs and all their explanation so that we can understand.
it's easy to build from there. So let's get into it. Crude oil. China is one of the top 3 importers of crude oil from Ghana. The number 1 importer of crude oil from Ghana is UAE, United Arab Emirates. Number 2 is Switzerland, and China is number 3. UAE imports about 25% of the oil that we manufacture in Ghana. Switzerland imports about 20% of the oil that we manufacture in Ghana. China has about 9% of the oil that we manufacture in Ghana. We all know UAE is a massive oil producer. So why do they import a quarter of the oil that we produce in Ghana? I'll explain why. Dubai is not just the Paris of working class people in Africa. Dubai is also the home of...
Hey, so Dubai and the Africa for Paris. Africa for the work like to say. And the near paper saw can say since they all use oil as the commodity of a business transaction. Until mention countries 3, or mention UAE, Switzerland, and China. And these are the major buyers of oil from Ghana. Omota J oil free Ghana pa. And the Osanso Babe can say Dubai about oil structure na etahon. Send our relationship with them, our business relationship with them, oil wise, is about to say something very funny. So that's why I paused. I just want you to take note of it.
The biggest oil trading hub in the world. So people from all over the world go to Dubai to buy oil. And so even though Dubai or the United Arab Emirates produces a lot of oil, they don't have enough supply for everybody from the world coming to buy from there. So they import from other places, including Ghana. So a quarter of our oil end up in Dubai, and then companies and countries from around the world go to Dubai to buy from there. It's an effective system. So that's how it has worked for decades.
Oh, say, as I know, we and Wakasa, it is an effective system because it has worked for decades. So if something has worked for decades, then that means it is effective. Hey, now the Ghana government now say it has worked for decades, but is the Ghana government effective? I'm not the one to judge, but say I will share the economic situation I want to see. Me can say that me can say ane. Enti say wo hwe say asem o kan no ho. Basically your person chain say UAE for no a more import oil every Ghana. Yes o mu ni oil wo. O more oil papa. But omo customers dosu. Into omo oil no enso to. Enti e wo say omo GB free Ghana ko omo ho. No maton esan so dey am omo customers no. Enti ye Ghana for ni ye ntimi nton ma customers no. I just omo moto no matter how turn at aboarding esan so dey am different customers. No mu nya more favors. No mu no diplomatics no mu relationship abroad. No more spread across the world. She send your oil see powerful. One will be a monopolize oil amount, a quarter of it. A quarter of it. Like it's a very, very funny thing. But let's continue.
Decades or for years. Switzerland operates basically the same way. So when you hear Swiss account, you think corruption.
It's one say Switzerland are the same thing now no more. It's yeah man fuska. And the market say. What's the word? And the so let's continue.
But when big business people hear Swiss account, they think favorable corporate law. So because of how favorable the corporate law exists in Switzerland, a lot of big corporations have their offices in Switzerland. So most of the huge oil trading companies are headquarters in Switzerland. So they buy oil from Ghana on paper most of the time and ship it from Switzerland to other places. So Switzerland is also like an oil market where people go there to buy the oil and then
it mean to oil and market I just see at the movie when Pakwana market my all the time
trade it to their countries. And oil is not like mango. People don't care too much where the oil is coming from. As long as there's oil, they're going to buy it. So we know why UAE and Switzerland import about half of the oil that we produce in Ghana. Why does China do it? China has positioned itself as the oil refinery of the world. Just like with all things manufacturing, China imports raw materials and then refines it and then exports it to the rest of the world. So in Africa, the big markets.
It is a man Casapadi and Kaye customer and Kaye China. Your customer when it comes to oil, dear and Kaye China because we use to process it. No way rubber and only are plastic in their dear frame. But other women your more money dear. To 4 born or more free and China no. Wow.
That or the big oil producing countries that China imports oil from are Nigeria and Angola. But because of how unstable their political system is, China needs some sort of insurance policy. So China buys oil from Ghana as a form of insurance policy because what? You have to diversify your portfolio.
That means that means that they don't even need a relationship with us. What is going on?
There is a saying in Ghana that if you have many wives, your funeral will be fun. That's because if one of your wives doesn't cook, the other wife will cook, right? So China diversifies their portfolio so that they can be safe no matter what happens in each country or whichever country. And so 9% of the oil we produce in Ghana goes to China. And that 9% of oil that goes to China represents about 90% of the revenue that Ghana makes from China as of 2024. That is why it was important for me to focus on just crude oil because most of our money comes from crude oil.
No, like, okay, that analysis, it didn't hit well. Because when it says that the oil, the profit that we got from 90% of it from China, it doesn't mean, say, your economy, 90% of Sika from 2024, 90% if you China would debut. He's just saying, say, you China for relationship, our business deals, no. Sika Nekesi pa 90% if we crude oil, 10% na can everything be yeah cracker over China phones that ton in this animal near man or this almost only imported BB. We need that change. Yeah, Kasa economy need not so. He's just saying say profit in a case pa, which is the 90% from oil. From China for and you're from other means because we are sure say gold is my for some we might. So let's continue. That means me wouldn't say in China for our relationship with them. I don't think it's that necessary. Anna.
Now, let me explain the second reason why I chose crude oil. So in 1994, the World Trade Organization entered into something called the Marrakesh Agreement. And the Marrakesh Agreement proposed the framework for which international trade will happen. So tariffs and other forms of international trade is governed by the Marrakesh Agreement. And from the Marrakesh Agreement, we've had a lot of other deals, one of which is like the Doha Development Round. And so the Marrakesh Agreement and the Doha Development Round have designated crude oil as a strategic raw material. And because crude oil is a strategic raw material, countries around the world are advised to charge no tariff or as little tariff on crude oil as possible. And to keep up with this, most countries in the world charge no tariff on crude oil. So the crude oil Ghana exports to UAE, they don't charge us any tariff on it.
Okay.
The crude oil Ghana exports to Switzerland, they don't charge tariff on it. So the crude oil China imports from Ghana, they don't charge us tariff on it.
Nene, omo announce so omo nji tariff no like what assemble no more can.
So since 2001, when China has been a member of the World Trade Organization, the members of the World Trade Organization, including Ghana, have enjoyed this no tariff benefit from China. So when China announced that Ghana is going to enjoy no tariff from China, what are they talking about? Deals have been in place for decades, right? So they were making an announcement that is a big meat pie with just air in it. It just looks big and there's nothing in the meat pie. When you look under there, when you open it, when you break the meat pie, there's nothing in it. So
I said, wait, yeah. Then what's the point of it? So me, I can see how maybe they want to bruise Donald Trump's ego with this kind of announcement. Say, maybe Donald Trump, as a Unis Kenti, were imposing tariff for 2 months for the bill business car. Now China for so can say, hey, any Sandia, yes, be imposing no tariff on any other country. Just say you was casting America for. Like maybe some kind of, hey, but how did Ghana get in between you? Let's continue.
You see, even the 10%, the remaining 10% outside of crude oil that China imports from Ghana, they are also raw materials. And most raw materials, when imported around the world, are getting no tariff already. So there is nothing to be gained from China making that announcement to Ghana. So why did they make that announcement? Have any of you seen the TV show Suits? If you haven't, there is a character in there, very interesting character called Louis Litt. And Louis Litt once said on Suits that everything in life is like high school. You remember high school? All you wanted to do in high school was to be the guy. You want to be the cool guy. You want to be popular. Life is like high school. And even before Louis Litt...
No, I didn't want to be... No, I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be unnoticeable as much as possible. Like, just come and go. But like I was there. But I just went and came. Like, me come by. People just know that I was there. But I'll be able to say, like, I don't know why people want to be popular. Like, what is the appeal of it? Me, I'm not saying say we never be in film and answer after it is vanity. That kind of argument, Omakasa, so it doesn't even hold water anymore. But like, me, mama who dream me like, oh, a day, it's too much.
Shakespeare said, "The whole world is a stage." So everything you are saying in your life is theater.
No, but you don't have
Politics
to pretend.
is just theater.
You see, like, that's why I'm saying, the whole popular thing, I was against it. You have to pretend like all the time to the point where you lose yourself. Like, I didn't go any concern with your crown. What you mean, Quaco Tom Pambuana, I was a shame. Also, you was fashionable. It's yeah, born your name, my fans, and no, you Pambuana, no, be like, it doesn't make sense. For what? Nobody in their right mind would do that, but for some reason you are doing it. So what is this reason? So let's continue.
I'm sorry to say that, but the explanation I just gave you on the crude oil thing should let you understand that the publicity stands no benefit to Ghana.
Hey,
so why did they do it?
So no benefit to
you. We are getting to that. China and the US have been fighting to be the cool guy on the block around the world. China and the US beef is not as strong like military beef where you say they are gonna nuke each other. No, China and the US beef is just more of a I'm the cool guy on the block beef. It's like rappers beef, Drake and Kendrick Lamar, right? And so usually when the US does something, China tries to one up them.
Say Donald Trump say China for more happy. You see, environmental impact na climate change na then. Say when him say China for now, also and can say they are manufacturers of processing crude oil and they manufacture products. Into manufacturers into industries and kasana ho. Into omo produce smoke akɛseɛ ne carbon dioxide ne ɛne can say CFOs ne saa nneɛma chemicals akɛseɛ no into the atmosphere. But when you ade bi ɛsɛ at the same time omo so na omo saa so sponsor saa nkɔfoɔ na ada bi omo ka sɛ ye destroy the environment nti ye ngyae saa climate change awareness activists no omo saa sponsor omo na saa fund omo so that saa nkɔfoɔ no climate activists no ebe fighting countries be to say America, all because of say almost so omo manufacturers nti ye shut omo down so the be China for no ye beto omo niema say we shut it down that means omo kwa no ba be so manufacturers nti wo pe bibia omo China ambeko nti business because so pa nti that's the reason why omo sanko for no wo ska no omo ti ye de wo pe bia no ma kata so nti ono Donald Trump na musa di we say na nkofo we say ya go we say no mo ba beti. Into one of the honor since the beginning of time now. No money had done for that. Only you pay. Only they had done for that. Then be only kontokwa. Eti, say by the time I Donald Trump no buy now. Ye baby you know Kennedy na and a COVID virus no buy. COVID virus any baby if you buy. So it is any baby if you buy. Open hands on also to say I don't say for China no buy. Or do more responsible. Or come in na say. On one of the since COVID nearby because of COVID impact in lockdown, and any business I slow into. And opebia bosumi bia wama Xi pay amount of quota be amount of import that also import materials also importing. And he said all importing on the country. So when import here or sorry or fan of one or friend or massa. I can't 200 cities fast also. It was a no only the Tokwankwa inti Donald Trump is about it's a 12 man in the second office, second term. We impose a tariff on other countries, including China. China, at the end, they want to say, because said the mayor or no submitting the China for Sikanibi. Oh, I am manufacturing industrialization or no crew. And you want to say tariff 90% on the Atosom. So, we a company, that's a we import a free China, and that's a bar, you have to pay 90% of the cost price. No? Said the government and submit to me yes industry. Said the bear non submit to me a producing Yamanaka will be imported free China. And who he also be imported free China view. Into no in tariff fraud to China for the understanding. In a way, or pursue Geo Musica, Sikana China for Agent, or pursue a gin back, not the yadi. China for one is as also what the Katasumi was sentino. And almost also Baby declares say. And yes, so therefore, Omo imposes zero taxes on Obia, including Ghana. Yes, was the Yawakwaship. Don't send to call no a silly fight no more. So let's continue.
So, for example, when the Trump administration announced their AI deal, China announced DeepSeek. And DeepSeek is just, how should I put it, a knock of ChatGPT. But when China made that announcement and coupled it with the fact that it cost them next to nothing to produce it, it created a ripple around the world and it became a huge news.
It was the China for the other time. One person much America for the so was casting one. In a way, it's like what me ask me will be a genius. Kana what's how they share much channel. Hey, I say it's a man is shit Donald Trump.
Item stepping on Trump's announcement. They just stole the headline from Trump. That's all they did. So this tariff announcement that China made with African countries is just to step on Trump and steal the headline again from Trump. And what do I mean? Which headline are they stealing? So in China, the government controls the factors of production. Labor, land, and capital are all controlled by the government.
Socialist.
So the government doesn't need tariff to regulate the market. The Chinese government can just regulate the market by just saying, today we want to do this. And if you disagree, you disappear like Jack Ma.
Chinese government, power, just say, on when they wait to that's why I can see when they work with see orange factory, and the engineer see. And nothing now, we was the China for no multi buildings. We want to say with you 2-3 weeks, no more saving. Or one government to know maybe any ayamar. One ya, one kuwa, obey that. But also in a democratic society, in a democratic country to say this. So baby, you have to pass through channels. You have to pass through channels unless it's a state of emergency, and yeah, you can just go ahead straightforward and do it. So wait me declare say if you have enough evidence to back your declaration of such state of emergency. Wait me if there's no enough evidence, now see wait me challenge your claim to the declaration of state of emergency. Maybe wait me resort to veto power. If you resort to veto power, that's still yes also a decline here. It me two ideas. So at that point you don't have any power anymore. In the China for government in there or only the entisa. So person ye bibi now why nya when kuwa ubehira. Like the government has that power. In the government in the PBA near Yaman. In John Way who he say oba betwen amoske bia ba be gu ba bia ansa ne agye dia koyesi dia kofa ha da bi no pebia ne ayama no yenya yema na I started this keba eno anu nti se omo leader na na se bia omo president if the Chinese president ni nyansa China be koso if the Chinese president were jimia China be bofo. I think that's one of the disadvantages of a socialist government.
The US government doesn't have that power. Around the world, the US government looks huge and powerful, but within the US, trade or the market is controlled by the private sector. So the factors of production are controlled by the private sector. So one of the ways that the US government can tell corporations in the US what to do is by putting tax on them. And tariff is a form of tax. So the Trump administration really want to increase manufacturing in the US by putting tariff on goods coming to the US from other places. That is why when Trump made an announcement, it affected the market. It affected the financial market because the US government, one of the biggest tools they have is tariff. The Chinese government doesn't need that tool. But the only reason they are using that tool is so that they can one-up US. So Trump's tariff announcement was unpopular around the world, and China thought that, you know what, this is my time to shine. Become more popular than Trump. How are we going to do that? We are going to announce no tariff when we are already having no tariff in place. So, like I just said, that whole no tariff announcement China did was a big publicity stunt.
But before the announcement, Ghana was the tariff Donald Trump imposed to Ghana, so it was 10% too. After the announcement, they jumped to 15. I don't know Ghana for a position. Nobody knows.
And sorry to say, China is not the first person to do that kind of publicity stunt. What I don't understand is why the government of Ghana participated in that publicity stunt. What has to put it to a block war and the Mahama administration stand to benefit by allowing the Chinese government.
But then again, you see, these people, these leftists, these Democrats, sometimes the things that they do, it almost follows a pattern. It's like sometimes Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, or almost no. They were really close with the Chinese. Not China for us to sponsor so I heard. They are so almost getting any PBR. And things like Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, he was in business with them. And I don't know, some Democrats will say their affiliation with the Chinese, I don't really understand it. But I'm sure you'll find a video on it later. So let's watch.
To use the name of Ghana to do this publicity stunt, I don't know. And I would like to know. If anybody knows anybody in the government of Ghana who can explain to Ghanaians why they allow themselves to be used in this global PR war,
this kind of drama,
I'm interested to know. Because what China did with Ghana is like when somebody breaks up with their ex and they come to you to use you to make fun of their ex. What you are going to ask them is, what?
Yes, and you can wish you ask the good so. Like you understand. So, about now no bani jai, no bani perform more for nas or on the yam na he will food why baby. Like, hey, it's a go for say fire one time. If you get free,
you guys stand to benefit from this. They benefited an announcement that Ghana is going to produce electric cars in future.
Electric cars. in the future.
So we made this announcement for a benefit that we don't have yet. I'll end here, and next week we'll come back and talk.
Thank Mr. I forgot his name, but let's thank Alice the educator for this education. I think this was a funny session because this doesn't make sense. So I stand corrected. I just want to use this opportunity to sort of like talk a little bit about my channel. This channel is all about educating ourselves and arming ourselves with information and knowledge. We stand to be ignorant anymore. We want to know. We want to ask. And we want to find out. We want to be powerful. We have been weakened for a while. I think knowledge is power and information is power. How to acquire it can become the issue sometimes. But, I believe this is why I started this channel. So thank you for your time, and I'll see you in another video.